Making the headlines on ABS News this morning, builders warned against using substandard materials for projects. Umuoba Anam Aguleri community urged to give peace a chance. Nigeria's electronic transactions hit all-time high in 2024. U.S. to send migrants to Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. Security is here to stay in Anambra State. In the Anambra, remember, security is everyone's responsibility and business, and for us to have a peaceful and secure, livable Anambra State, let us join forces with the government in securing our state. If you see something, say something, report unscrupulous elements to the security operatives for a better security of lives and property. Remember, the emergency numbers are 511 and 0808 0800 220000. My name is Ajuruchukwu Okagwe. Many thanks for joining us on this news this morning. Following incessant building collapse, Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo has cautioned developers against using substandard materials in construction of buildings, attributing them to the frequent cases of building collapse in this part of the world. The governor issued the warning during a visit to the construction site at Regina Cheli Junction in Awka, where a 3-story building under construction collapsed at the late hours of yesterday. Emmanuel Okonkwo was there and reported for the ABS.
Present at the scene during the governor's visit were a health team from the Ministry of Health, fire service officials, among others. Governor Soludo, represented by his deputy Dr. Onyekachukwu Bezim, warned builders to exercise caution when erecting structures and avoid actions that could endanger human lives. When contacted on phone by the deputy governor, the engineer handling the project, who gave his name as Mr. Stanley, said he was trapped in the building alongside other 2 workers, and 3 of them were immediately rescued and rushed to the hospital where they are currently receiving treatment. In Awka, I am Emmanuel Okonkwo, reporting for ABS News.
Japanese government and United Nations Office for Project Service UNOPS has handed over climate disaster emergency support project executed in Anambra State to the government. Apart from the flood detective device installed in some major rivers in the state, the group also handed over 10 vehicles, 3 big trucks, ICT equipment, among other things. Emmanuel Okonkwo was there and now reports.
In a remark on behalf of the Japanese government, the charge d'affaires Embassy of Japan in Nigeria, Mr. Hitoshi Kozaki, restated the government's commitment to helping Anambra State to mitigate flooding and other climatic challenges.
We are sure that this support will bring about a positive impact on the people of Anambra and Nigeria.
In various addresses, the UNOPS project manager, Mr. Herbert Apia, and director, UNOPS Ghana Multi-Country Office, Dr. Ifeoma Charles Monguba, while explaining that the project is funded by Government of Japan through its Ministry of Foreign Affairs and implemented by UNOPS, said that the gesture was aimed at reducing damages caused by the yearly flooding in Anambra State. Responding, Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo, represented by his deputy Dr. Onyekachukwu Bezim, thanked Japanese government and UNOPS for coming to the aid of the state, saying that the intervention will go a long way in complementing the efforts of his government towards protecting the Anambra from adverse effects of flood disaster.
On behalf of Mr. Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo, we want to thank you for your kind gestures, and then we hope this continues.
From Government House in Awka, I am Emmanuel Okonkwo, reporting for ABS News.
The people of Umuoba, Anam, and Aguleri communities, both in Anambra East local government area, have been urged to eschew violence, bloodshed, and unnecessary land tussles, and see one as brothers and sisters. Reacting to the recent misunderstanding between the 2 neighboring communities in Otuocha, a former chief of staff to the immediate past governor of Anambra State, Chief Primus Odili, regretted the unnecessary land tussles and violence that has denied both communities top developmental projects they could have attracted for more than 5 decades, and asked both communities to always see one another as brothers and sisters who God has already designed for them to live together and will continue to live as neighbors, urging them to start fishing out bad elements in their various communities for them to face the full wrath of the law. Chief Orderly, however, commended the traditional rulers, presidents, generals, religious leaders, and other relevant stakeholders of the two communities for ensuring that the unfortunate incident did not escalate further, and called on the appropriate authorities to sincerely mark an everlasting boundary which will be acceptable to both parties in order to end the land dispute, and eulogize the administration of Governor Chukwuma Soludo, the mayor of Anambra East Local Government Area, Honorable Ifeanyi Chinweze, as well as various security agencies for being responsive to their duties, urging them to keep sustaining the tempo for a peaceful environment. Our philanthropist, Mrs. Felicia Ibezim, has built and donated a story building to the people of Obodezi Ubnago Village, Oka, in Oka Star Local Government Area of Anambra State. The structure, which was built in memory of Dr. Ibezim's late father, Mr. Clement Wankwo Okeke, has 2 halls, offices, and toilet facilities. Gabe Alokwe tells us more.
In her address during the handover ceremony, Dr. Ibezim, represented by Mrs. Grace Nwabeze, thanked God for giving her such a father who trained her to the university level against all odds, and also hinted that her husband's people in Amigo in Imo State have benefited more from her acts of benevolence. She then appealed to governments and people from Imo, Enugu, and Anambra states to support her philanthropic programs to enable her impact more on the society.
I first started doing charity work in Amigo, where I believe they needed me more. I did that for several years before I decided to honor my late father and give back to the community that raised me.
Consecrating the building, Reverend Canon Ernest Ebenu prayed God to continue to bless the donor, Dr. Ibezim, and the people of Obodezi Obunagu Village, Oka, and declared the structure as a place for meeting and worshiping God.
Ihe jiri mara like Clement Okeke wu okwu Chineke ịrụ amaracha họlụ dị otu a ka ọ were ebe a na-eme mmemme dị iche iche. Ọrụ ya n'ihi ọ wee akara nwa ego, but ọrụ ya n'ihi she's a special gift in our generation.
Report says Nigeria's electronic payment transactions have hit a historic high of 1.07 quadrillion naira in 2024. According to a recent data released by the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, the data showed that 1.07 quadrillion naira mark is about $70.6 billion based on the closing exchange rate of 1,535 naira per dollar on December 31st, 2024. Accordingly, the value recorded on the NIBSS Instant Payment NIP represents 76.7% increase over 600 trillion recorded in 2013, while the e-payment data shows a steady increase throughout the 12 months of the year. The highest value was recorded in December. Being the festive period with lots of spending activities, Nigerians spent a total of 115.1 trillion naira over electronic channels in December 2024 alone. And over to our foreign news. U.S. President Donald Trump has ordered the construction of a migrant detention facility in Guantanamo Bay, where he said it will hold up to 30,000 people. The facility is said to be on the U.S. Navy base in Cuba, which will be separate from its high-security military prison, would house the worst criminals, illegal aliens threatening the American people. Guantanamo Bay has long been used to house immigrants, a practice that has been criticized by some human rights groups. Cuba's government swiftly condemned the plan, accusing the U.S. of torture and illegal detention of occupied land. Trump's announcement came as he signed the so-called Lankin-Riley Act into law, which requires undocumented immigrants who are arrested for theft or violent crimes to be held in jail pending trial. The bill, named after Georgia nursing student who was murdered last year by a Venezuelan migrant, was approved by Congress last week, an early legislative win for the administration. And over to our sports news. As concern over the Super Eagles 2026 World Cup qualification continue to dominate discussions in Nigerian football circle, a former captain of the team and member of the 1980 AFCON winning squad, Coach Henry Nwosu, has said that it will be a big blow for the country if Nigeria fails to qualify. Henry Nwosu, however, remains optimistic that the Super Eagles can still qualify for the world's prestigious tournament if all indices are in place. He added that if Nigeria does not qualify for the 2026 World Cup, it will be a big blow for the country because people like him will not be watching the games with all their hearts. Also, Nigeria's football ranking will drop and other African countries will see Nigeria as an serious country when it comes to football. Remember that you can follow programs and news on ABS from any part of the world by liking our Facebook page. You can also follow us on Anambra Broadcasting Service, subscribe to our YouTube at ABS Television, and on X at ABS Radio TV, and on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. You can also log on to our website at www.absradiotv. Before we go, a look at our main stories. Builders have been warned against using substandard materials for projects. Umuoba Anam, Aguleri community have been urged to give peace a chance. Nigeria's electronic transactions hit all-time high in 2024. And on the foreign scene, we brought to you U.S. to send migrants to Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. Security is here to stay in Anambra State. In the Anambra, remember, security is everyone's business, and for us to have a more secure and livable Anambra State, let us join forces with the government in securing our state. If you see something, say something. Report unscrupulous elements to the security operatives for a better security of lives and property. Remember, the emergency number is 511 and 0800220008. And that's the size of our package this morning. Many thanks for joining us. My name is Ajuruchukwu Okagwe. Have a blessed morning.